Dr. Ehab Mohammed's troubles keep mounting, the state medical board accusing him of lying to patients about his credentials. A wrongful death suit filed against him by the family of a woman who died undergoing liposuction in his office. A judge barring him from performing cosmetic surgery pending a hearing. Now, the medical board says Dr. Ehab Mohammed is in violation of state law by taking out a new ad in the Sunday papers using only his first name. He is now Dr. Ehab. Jennifer Samoa is with the medical board.
We would first contact the physician after they come into compliance. If that did not happen, the next step would be to issue a citation and ask the physician to come into compliance.
Neither Dr. Mohammed nor Dr. Ehab returned my calls for comment. Charles Feldman, KNX 1070 News Radio.
Another day, another development in our KNX 1070 investigation into an Encino cosmetic surgeon. Yesterday, we told you that Dr. Ehab Mohammed was running a new newspaper advertisement using just his first name, a violation of state regulations. And now, KNX 1070 investigative reporter Charles Feldman says there's a new question about that ad.
He says in the ad that he was named top cosmetic surgeon by a group called Consumer Research Council of America for the year 2010. Well, I tried calling that council based in Washington. You can't get through because it's a non-existent phone number. And in fact, when we did some research, it turns out that Forbes magazine did a piece on this very company about a year ago, and it's kind of bogus. They do put out these lists of best doctors, but how they put them together, nobody really knows. And although they've got an office allegedly in Washington that's supposedly nothing more than a post office box, it's actually based on a company that's here in Simi Valley, which I'm going to visit in the next few days.
Okay, and Charles, I understand you've talked to another patient of Dr. Mohammed, or should we say Dr. Ehab?
That's right. In fact, up until now, she's only been known as AM by her initials in a medical board complaint that she helped file, but her actual name is Anne Marie McMahon, and she tells me a story about how in 2008 she went for a procedure at Dr. Mohammed's office then in Beverly Hills, that he sold her on a $60,000 procedure marked down from $100,000 if she did it on the spot. And she says that while she was heavily sedated, he slipped in another procedure that she didn't want, having her sign for another $5,000, and that in the end he didn't do a lot of the stuff that he promised, but she couldn't get most of the money back from the credit card companies. I should add that we have tried to reach Dr. Mohammed for several days now. He has not returned our calls.
Former patient speaking out about a doctor who's been the subject of an exclusive KNX investigation. Anne Marie McMahon is included in a complaint by the California Medical Board against Dr. Ehab Mohammed. She tells KNX at first she only went in for a consultation.
I was told that if I started treatment on that day, then I would get a $40,000 reduction in the fee because of the Harvard study. And he also told me that he was going to be leaving for Boston the next day, and I was going to be the last person who could get in on this study. And because I was such a mess and I had such terrible sun damage, and he really, really wanted me to be part of the study.
Well, KNX has found out that Harvard study did not exist, but McMahon didn't know that and tells our Charles Feldman she went ahead with the treatment.
Foolish me. I went into the room, and he gave me Xanax, he gave me Vicodin, and I was totally out of it. Also, while I was totally out of it, he had me sign for an additional $5,000 worth of lip augmentation, which I don't even like. And just looking at my signature on that, you can tell that that wasn't quite kosher.
So he added. You're saying that he added procedure and expenses that he had you sign for when you were not in any condition to know what you were doing?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
After the procedure, McMahon says she was walked to her car but was so out of it that it took her 2 hours to drive from Beverly Hills to her home in Studio City.
I came in the house, vomit all over me, unable to really tell where I'd been because I didn't know. So the next day, when I woke up after 14 hours, I called Dr. Mohammed and told him that I would not be coming back for treatment number 2 since he damn near killed me after treatment number 1. And he said, well, you may as well come and have it done anyway because you're going to be charged for it because it's already gone through the credit card companies.
No comment on this from Dr. Mohammed. This, by the way, happened in 2008, and the State Medical Board hearing on it is coming up next week.
The words jump out from the pages of the L.A. County Coroner Office final report on the death of Sharon Carpenter, who underwent a 14-hour liposuction procedure in the office of cosmetic surgeon Ehab Mohammed. The doctor has been the focus of a series of KNX investigative reports into his practice. There is gross medical negligence, concludes the two medical examiners who signed the report obtained by KNX. They say there were significant errors in medical judgment and list the cause of death as a lethal combination of 3 different sedatives. Dr. Mohammed claimed to us that the patient died because of a pre-existing heart condition.
Absolutely, because of her genetics and her coronary artery disease.
But the coroner's report is damning of the doctor who charged Sharon Carpenter $100,000 for the procedure that led to her death. A consultant for the medical examiner says Dr. Mohammed lacked monitoring equipment and says he apparently was not aware of the properties of sedative drugs and how to administer them. The dead woman's daughter, Jennifer, spoke with us about her mother.
She really loved my kids, spent a lot of time with them. I'd say in the last year, we probably spent almost every weekend together.
Which does lead me to the inevitable question, what do you think ought to happen now?
I think that there are several things that ought to happen. The first one is, in my opinion, this doctor should not be practicing anymore.
There is a hearing Monday on a temporary restriction already placed on Dr. Mohammed by a judge. Robert Stone, a lawyer for the Carpenter family, will be there.
I'm there also to find out what I can as it might assist us in the wrongful death lawsuit that I have filed on behalf of the family.
Dr. Mohammed boasts that he charges as much as $650,000 for his work. Charles Feldman, KNX 1070 News Radio.
The Encino cosmetic surgeon who's been the focus of a KNX investigation goes before a judge to fight for his medical career. KNX 1070 investigative reporter Charles Feldman was there.
It was a small courtroom handling a large issue, whether a cosmetic surgeon should be allowed to continue to practice medicine until a full hearing can be held, perhaps months down the line. The judge considering the case has already placed a restriction on the ability of Dr. Ehab Mohammed to perform certain types of surgery. This after a female patient died in his office undergoing a $100,000 14-hour liposuction procedure. The state medical board and attorney general's office want the doctor's license to practice any medicine suspended, but the lawyer representing Dr. Mohammed, Ronald Marks, insists his client practices good medicine.
The main case involves the woman who died in his office, and we had the case reviewed by an anesthesiologist with good qualifications, and he didn't come to the same conclusion that they did, that there was any excessive anesthesia administered that would have caused her to suffer the cardiac arrest.
But lawyers for the government stuck by their guns, saying Dr. Mohammed is a danger to his patients and should not be allowed to continue to practice. That feeling shared by Anne-Marie McMahon, who was one of the doctor's former patients.
I don't think he should be suspended just from his liposurgery. I think he is a danger to all his patients for whatever they go to him for.
Robert Stone, the lawyer representing the family of the dead woman, spoke for the family, the woman's daughter being brought to tears several times during the proceeding.
Well, they're here today, and they really, are kind of choked up with emotion, and they didn't feel that they could really talk about it. But I could tell you that listening to what the attorney for the doctor said, it's not in accordance with their recollection of what they were told by the doctor.
The judge has up to 15 days to issue his ruling. Charles Feldman, KNX 1070 News Radio. Dr. Ehab Mohammed is effectively out of business, at least till a hearing somewhere down the road. A judge finding him such a threat to the public safety that he has barred Dr. Mohammed from practicing any type of medicine and even from going into his own office. Jennifer Samoas is with the State Medical Board, which would like to yank Dr. Mohammed's license for good.
So the administrative law judge granted our petition for suspension of Dr. Mohammed's license. And suspension means that he cannot practice or attempt to practice any aspect of medicine or surgery. He cannot advertise, and he can't be present in any location or office, including his current office of record with the board. He cannot possess, order, purchase, receive, prescribe, furnish, administer, or otherwise distribute controlled substances or dangerous drugs.
So he's effectively out of business as a doctor until the hearing.
Correct.
And this is rather rare, is it not?
It's something that shows that the judge agrees with the medical board and the Attorney General's office that he is an imminent danger to the public.
The woman who died in Dr. Mohammed's office underwent a marathon 14-hour liposuction that cost her $100,000 and her life. With other patients, Dr. Mohammed claimed to be on the faculty of Harvard Medical School. He was not. He claimed he was doing a Harvard study. He was not. He claimed he could charge hundreds of thousands of dollars for procedures he claimed he pioneered. He didn't. Charles Feldman, KNX 1070, News Radio. Dr. Ehab Mohammed was once on top of the world, or so it seemed, charging hundreds of thousands of dollars for cosmetic procedures. But now he's been arrested on suspicion of grand theft. He allegedly tried to sell for $20,000 a piece of medical equipment he does not own. He was set up by the owner of a medical spa in Connecticut, who became suspicious, largely, she says, after seeing our series of reports on the web.
That's essentially was the main red flag, in all honesty. The fact that, he had been reported on numerous times by your agency led to great suspicion.
The spa owner contacted LAPD and the sting operation was on.
He thought that a nice big certified check was going to be put in the palm of his hand.
For how much?
For $20,000.
And he thought he was meeting, a representative from your health spa?
A representative from my health spa explained that I couldn't fly out to California and that I wanted to make sure the machine could be turned on, that it was working, that it had all the stated pieces, and so that's when the transaction was going to take place.
Meantime, the LAPD and LA County DA's office continue to look into possible criminal charges against Dr. Mohammed, whose license has been suspended. This related to the death of a patient after she underwent an all-day liposuction procedure. Attorney Robert Stone represents the dead woman's family.
I think he's a flight risk, and he's been subpoenaed to give his deposition in our civil case, and he totally ignores all the processes of the court.
In the course of our investigation, we found that Dr. Mohammed lied about everything from his credentials to conducting studies that never were. Charles Feldman, KNX 1070 News Radio. Federal immigration officials tell KNX that Dr. Ehab Mohammed, an Egyptian national, had his work visa revoked by Homeland Security back in 2006. Yet he continued to practice medicine here, performing expensive cosmetic procedures. Our investigation over almost a year showed he repeatedly lied about his credentials. He was caught last week in an LAPD sting operation, allegedly trying to sell medical equipment he does not own. He has pleaded not guilty. And the LADA's office and LAPD both trying to decide whether to charge the doctor criminally in connection with the death of a patient on his office operating table after she underwent an all-day $100,000 liposuction procedure. Charles Feldman, KNX 1070 News Radio. In 2008, some well-known LA area cosmetic surgeons did something extraordinary. They complained to the California State Medical Board, we are told, about another doctor. They thought he was mentally unstable and a threat to patients, we are told. They thought this because they treated him for complications from what may have been as many as 20 surgical procedures he performed upon himself. The board, we are told, failed to take disciplinary action against Dr. Mohammed. Some 2 years later, after a woman died undergoing an all-day $100,000 liposuction, and after a series of our investigative reports, the board suspended but did not revoke Dr. Mohammed's license. Robert Stone is an attorney representing the family of the dead woman.
If the medical board had only listened to these doctors, my client's wife would undoubtedly be alive today. We are all very disappointed with our state's medical board. How could they let this happen?
The medical board was unresponsive to our direct questions about the 2008 warning, instead issuing a statement that it took the necessary steps to provide public protection. Dr. Mohammed is in jail now on attempted grand theft charges. He has pleaded not guilty, and the LA County DA is still deciding whether to charge Dr. Mohammed criminally in the death of that patient. LAPD homicide detective Joel Price.
From my perspective, Dr. Mohammed is responsible for the death of the patient, but it is ultimately up to the district attorney's office to make the determination whether or not they are going to charge him with that crime.
Now, when you say responsible, you mean criminally responsible?
I believe so, yes.
Dr. Mohammed is an Egyptian national who has been living in the U.S. illegally, says the federal government, since 2006, when the U.S. State Department revoked his visa. Charles Feldman, KNX 1070 News Radio.